ya mo nyina kwaba about the Chamber News Ghana eso ayelani say obeko na kese one US Attorney General no omakoka omontoma abom se ne be ya ombetimi prosecute Ken Ofori-Atta United States of America court a kese nya sem ketwa enkra kaka ensaka ni say Ken Ofori-Atta is a citizen of the United States of America intayelani ese ono de onihia obeye since Ken Ofori-Atta mpese obeba ne de okọ America no ne Attorney General na wo no akwaka omontoma bom no ma prosecute Ken Ofori-Atta United States of America court yenkoti nsema ode etuga.
The value is the same. Basic thing is that he's no longer a person that if any Interpol member saw today they can arrest. That's the real point, because once he remained on the list. And then when we say Interpol, so Interpol is what? Police organizations around the world. So the countries that have joined, over 100, right? So that means that once he's on the red notice alert, it means that if he was found in Togo, they could arrest him. If he was found in the US, they could arrest him. So now with what has happened with this decision to restrict him, so it means that if they found him today, they will not arrest him. That's the most important thing.
I see.
Yes.
So if he is seen today,
yes,
to the extent that...
Yes. He's been removed, restricted. Yes, we are using effective communication. The key thing is, what is the effect of what has been done? The main effect is that he will not be arrested. So
if whether you today,
yes. So whether you call it removal or what do you call it, restriction, the key thing is that would he be arrested today if he's found? No. And now let's situate this. So it's not really about the Interpol red notice. So what it does is to like blacklisting. Okay, so it's something, there's some effect in a blacklisting. But if we look at what Ghanaians have been looking for, which is that he must come back to Ghana, that one is a long shot. Long shot, because even if he's arrested today, he will not be automatically brought to Ghana today or tomorrow. No. You see the extradition that the Attorney General is working on, that is what has to be granted. You know, they will do it, send it to the US government. Then the US government will go through it, the Home Department, blah, blah, they'll look at it. Then they will go to court. So eventually there will be court proceedings in the US because Ofori-Atta will contest his return to Ghana, right? And so it's not today or tomorrow. And you see why every day I'm pained and I keep saying that. So the man who allowed Ofori-Atta to escape, that's Kisie Jabe, has to leave the office immediately because he's fueling the suspicion that they colluded. Let me tell you something. You know how this world works. Because people want justice in this case, I've been given credible information that all this while in January, when we started saying that, look, if Ofori-Atta is not coming, then let's take steps to do trial in absentia so that we can confiscate his properties, etc. And it wasn't done, they delayed. It turns out that in the interim, Ofori-Atta is trying to get permanent residence in the US.
You got this information from where?
Oh, you know, this work we do, if I had to disclose all my sources would dry out.
You say it's credible.
Yes, credible. Yeah, but I have to keep citizen journalism. I have the right to keep them. So right now, the key thing is that, and that's why it's even irking me more. So as OSP was doing Kukwasa, Ofori-Atta through one of his sons has applied for him to get permanent residence in the US.
I see. And
so
this,
that
and this
complicates his return.
I see. This you are able to prove. Sorry? You're able to prove because this is from a credible source.
Yes.
So you have enough information to prove that indeed he has applied to get permanent.
Oh, no, they will release it. But I look at where the source is coming from. I believe it. And of course, if push comes to shove, we'll go into the US system. That at least is there. Okay, we'll do a request, RTI request to the Homeland Security and the Home Department in the US. So the key thing is that as we're here from January, we started asking for trial in absentia. OSP came and were giving us ludicrous answers that no, you cannot do trial in absentia. 11 months only to do a U-turn. So then it fuels the suspicion. The analysts are like, oh, so when they deny trial in absentia, so that it gives Ofori-Atta enough opportunity to get permanent residence.
They're going to court on Monday.
Yes.
The fugitives, as has been described, they are not in the country, obviously. So the trial is going to go on.
Yes.
What's going to happen on Monday is they're going to hear them.
Yes, but the fact
that will be in the absence of Ken Ofori-Atta.
Preliminary
amount to a trial in absentia.
Yes, the trial is, let's say this, before the trial in absentia will be done, Article 19 Clause 3 requires that the OSP will prove to the court that Ofori-Atta has been notified. The very thing we have been talking about. As to how they do the notification, Monday will come, then we'll see. If they've done it, fine. But if they've not, then it means that for Ofori-Atta and Esakore, his chef de cabinet, or is it chief de cabinet, his PA, let's use the simple term, his PA, the trial for them will not go on if there is no proof, cogent proof that they've been notified. Because let's read 19 Clause 3. It says that he has to be notified. So if the accused is notified of the trial, he doesn't come, then that's when the court will go on. But please, that technical term, well, in this case, I would say technical because it's not cheap. Notification, that's what OSP has to prove to the court. And this one lawyer, Tadio Sori, had been saying from day one. You know, Tadio Sori was one of the first to say, let's do trial in absentia. In January, when this matter came, if you check the records, I think for me, in reading commentary on this matter, lawyer Tadio Sori was the first to ask for trial in absentia. Then later, all of us joined. Me, initially, you know, we thought, oh, he would come. And, you know, but it turned out that at least some of us converted far earlier and joined Tadio Sori in asking for trial in absentia. And OSP kept stonewalling, whilst Ofori-Atta is taking steps to get better residents in the US so that his coming year will be more complex. And don't forget that he has huge investments in the US. Huge investment. And the American government will not lightly throw him under the bus. So you have to be very careful. This is a political decision. Look, at a point, after Kissi Ejabin is left, later in our series to get justice, we may have to organize a demonstration to go to the US Embassy and present a petition. That's what we have to do. We have to mobilize Ghanaians after Kissi Ejabin is left, because that's the first point. We can't trust Kissi Ejabin to do this work because he saw Ofori-Atta leave. He saw the letter. I'm happy Professor Jampo is here. Please, Mr. Counsel, when he gets to his side, let him explain the political theory of the state. How, when I keep saying, when I quote the constitutional provisions and I show that under the constitution, Kissi Ejabin had a mandatory duty to inform Ghanaians once he saw Ofori-Atta was leaving, and he alleges that the other.
So you expect that you address a press conference?
Exactly. So I want Professor Jampo from the governance experts to come. No, there's also governance. Let all the governance experts weigh in. Then we see that it's a serious constitutional matter.
You see, I'll come to you.
Okay.
I'm sorry. But his lawyers are saying that he has not been formally served.
So that's why we said on Monday we'll hear that. So let me just read it. That's why I said cogent evidence, how he's been served. 19.3, just for those who want to hear the constitutional words, then we'll move on. It says, the trial of a person charged with a criminal offense shall take place in his presence unless A, he refuses to appear before the court for the trial to be conducted in his presence after he has been duly notified of the trial. So after he has been duly notified. So Monday we'll see, maybe if OSP did it and has not told us yet, well, Monday we'll see. You see, but the key point we're making is that the extradition itself, look, it's not a joke. It's a whole process. That's how come I said after we get Kissi Ejabin out, we'll have to mobilize Ghanaians. Once the US government understands that citizens understand what's going on, that extradition is political, maybe it will help them to bring Ofori-Atta. But if we leave it to TV analysis, you know, they also gauge public opinion. If a few experts come and sit here and say extradition, and then lots of our citizens are not bothered, it won't happen today. But when we mass up a lawful demonstration quietly to the US Embassy and present a petition that we want the American government to bring down Ofori-Atta, it will help.
So that extradition process is what I reserve that for lawyer Christian Mamhasi. Thank you very much. You have different positions on this. The OSP has been clear on why it was unable to do what two lawyers are asking he should have done. And to the effect, 78 charges of corruption and corruption-related offenses have been slapped on Ken Ofori-Atta, and then also some 6 other persons, all in this matter that the OSP is investigating. He's still out of the country, by the way. His lawyers state he has not been formally served. Could anything have been done differently?
You see, Alfred, I am a bit worried listening to Martin and some other lawyers. It appears it's going to be a very Herculean task to bring Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta to Ghana to stand trial in person, looking at the processes that would have to be resorted to.
Yes.
It's going to be very laborious. It's going to be very difficult because don't forget, he also has lawyers, and so they will be fighting what the state would, the measures and the efforts that the state will be putting in place, and that is why I believe. Martin, you've done well. When we started doing public discourse in media, you were not part, but you've come. I think you've carved a niche for yourself. I think I like the argument, the bits that you brought in, that then the OSP should have, at a point in time when he realized that he was helpless. I mean, he himself said he was helpless. I called NIB, they were not minding me. I called this one, they wouldn't pick my calls and all that. So I'm saying, maybe, you see, he should have prevented, first of all, he should have prevented the flight or exit of Ken Ofori-Atta. Oftentimes when people are given mandates, okay, they settle in, and if you don't really sit down to read about your own mandate, there are certain things you may not be aware of. And so I see you, I look at my act, and I know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know whether the OSP didn't know that they have the power to arrest. I don't know. I said I don't know whether they didn't know. And the other bit is that well, so that's what I'm saying. That you have to socialize yourself effectively in your own act. Okay, because
if you say that you don't know your own act, then you don't.
So I'm saying that. But so then what was the point in coming to say that I called these agencies to come and help, and they all, let me down? If you knew that you yourself had the power to arrest. The second bit, is that
they had opportunity to also seek absconding warrant from the court.
Well,
and that will do his work for him.
The second
you don't arrest people by your mouth.
Yeah. The second bit is that, you see, we oftentimes have tended to believe that when it comes to arrest, it's always about, it's a function of the security agencies. Okay? This is what is ingrained heavily and deeply in our psyche as a people. But dear Ghanaians, there's something we call citizen arrest. Okay, we are the ultimate repository of the powers of the land that are exercised by appointees. Let me tell you a story. One day I had gone to a funeral in a village, and I saw somebody using a government vehicle to carry a casket. I stopped them. I told them that you have no right to do that.
A government vehicle.
A government vehicle. I don't drive government vehicle to social events. I want to use my own car. Government vehicles are for government work. But I saw somebody using a state vehicle to carry a casket.
A casket?
Yes. Stop. We stopped them and said, who are you? I said, I'm nobody. But you can't do this. And I exercised that, I mobilized people to appreciate that it is our taxes that are used to buy fuel in this car that is being abused. And so they joined me. We made sure that they got the casket off the vehicle. I said, where do you, I don't want to give, but we were able to prevent that. So my point is, at that point in time, when the OSP saw that he was helpless, and maybe they didn't also appreciate their own powers that they have to arrest. What prevented them from, these days, every now and then, OSP is holding press conference. So why didn't they organize a press conference to tell us, fellow Ghanaians, we wanted to do X, Y, Z. We are calling A, B, C, they are not minding us. And so because of that, we are aware that the
How about your study warrant?
Well,
from the court.
So that the good people of Ghana would have appreciated what you were going through. In that case, the OSP would have escaped the current Martin Kpebu blame on him, that you knew and you were sanctioned, you looked on, and then you sanctioned the exit of the man. And so I think that it's a difficult situation. It appears that the fight against corruption through the laid down legal processes is always going to be slow. But our own attitude as officials who are mandated and given the power to do these things must also not compound the delays and the challenges and the problems. So look, somebody is telling me that if you don't take it, we may go through the entire tenure of this administration and the man will still not be here. And because don't forget that he's also smart and resourceful woman of legal gymnastics. Just to be sure. Well, it may not be time bound, but the point is, you strike when the iron is hot. And every Ghanaian, you see, I'm telling you, the survival and stability of our fourth Republican democratic practice is to a large extent also contingent on the kinds of things that are done by this administration in fighting and in addressing corruption. If it becomes business as usual and we perpetuate the cliche that Ubiabasa, it will be difficult because then people would want to take things into their own hands. And so it is important that examples are set. It is important that the right things are done. And like I said, agencies of state that are given the task and mandate to handle some of these things must also sit up and they must be up and doing. It appears that in our part of the world, anytime people are given appointment, they go to perpetuate or do the status quo. Nobody goes in there with a psyche of, okay, what can I do to challenge and to question? So look at what happened. You are going to recruit soldiers, and the status quo has been that everybody should be crowded and we should all go. I mean, when you know that best practices elsewhere, people are able to even apply online and they do things to decongest. You know that unemployment is a serious issue in our part of the world. And so if you say that there is an avenue for employment and people must go, there will be stampede. And so what happened to those who were in charge? Why didn't they say, well, this is how we've done it, but today or in our time, we want to challenge the status quo and do something different? And so I'm saying that as we all get the opportunity to serve, the idea of how was it done yesterday must be challenged. We should also have innovative
a justification for the change.
For the change, we should also have an innovative ways of working within the confines of the law, but in a manner that challenges the status quo. Let us begin to let citizens know that we are appointees and duty bearers. Even though you may be answerable to your appointing authority, you are ultimately also answerable to the ordinary citizenry whose powers are being exercised by you. And so the citizens have got the right to ask questions. They've got the right to demand accountability. And when we think that we are at our wits' end, when we think that we are facing a lot of frustration, I'm telling you, the most powerful force within the body politic is a citizenry. And so I was thinking that it would have been better.
Mr. Mike saw the two that in an interview, and I just say, I'll be breaking it down. I de amaono. Sansem way, I just say, yeah, I any eka. I'll say, or no, the plans in United say, only the US Attorney General on the common to my boom, senior to prosecutor Ken Ofori-Atta, away United States of America, a court. First time I'll be subscribe. Send a bed the video be about able to me. I can be now so when you be.